We've been married for 5 years. We have a 4-year-old together and she has 2 other kids from a previous marriage. They are pre-teens. About 2 months ago, we went to the mechanic shop to get her car serviced. And she kept talking to the guy there and looking at him. I ended up talking to him too because I had a Raiders jersey on and he said he was a big fan of the Raiders. Anyway, I work 10-hour days and she absolutely hates that. But she is a stay-at-home wife. I pay all the bills. So I have to be away. She was seeing this guy we met at the car shop every day. I was at work behind my back. 3 weeks ago, I came home and she wrote me a text saying she was gone and she was in love with this guy and she believed he was her soulmate. I did my research and the guy had no place to stay. So they all have been living in the car. I paid for in different parks. You know what the sad part is? She left our 4-year-old behind and took the other 2 kids that are not mine. She has blocked me on everything. Family members have sent me posts of her saying how much happier she is now and how in love with her sexy man she is. It hurts to the core. I can't eat, sleep or function at work worse. My daughter cries every night. Thank God. My sisters and mom have stepped up to take care of her while I work and they watch her full time on the weekend. It's like I'm numb and don't know what I did so wrong. I took care of her, loved her when she was sick and loved her children. The worst thing she said I did was work too much and that I didn't have time for her. Well, sorry, I'm the only one paying bills and it sucks so bad. The other worst part is last night she had the cops beating on my door when I opened up. It was her and the cops, they were escorting her in to get her things. I'm so glad her daughter was sleeping. She gathered up some more clothes and told me to toss the rest and that she would never be back. I looked outside and the guy she was with was sitting in the passenger seat. I am beyond livid. Yeah. And she texted me this morning asking if I had gas money for her and if I paid the car note. She said she would talk to me face to face. But only if I did that for her. I didn't respond. I am numb. Yes. I worked a lot. I'm sorry. I didn't have time to take you to the movies or a special dinner, but we have never been hungry. We have a beautiful house and I always gave her anything she asked for. Why not communicate? So I could have worked on being a better husband and father. My wife is so beautiful. I thought I was lucky. But now I see the real her update. I met up with her at the gas station by the house when she was crying on the voicemail I gave in. Sorry, I'm only human. I do love her but I am done with her. Now when I got to the gas station, I was shocked to see her as I think people are right that she is on drugs. My wife was already small but she is bony now. She always used to dress beautifully even when in casual clothes. But she was in literal sweat in racks. I gave her $200 for food and gas. Her guy was in the car as well as my kids. I said I will take the kids please. They can go to school or your family can pick them up. She said no. She wanted her kids with her, that they were no longer any of my concern. This killed me. Inside as I've been their dad for 5 years. They called me dad and I love those kids with my heart and soul. She refused to say if they were in school. Don't worry. I called CPS today and left a voicemail. I said you have another kid. Remember? She said, yeah, I love her and miss her. But right now I do not want to be in her life and she needs to respect that and get over it. She is better off with you. She literally said I don't want to be in her life. I said, are you in love with that guy? She said yes, she was. She made it clear that she didn't want to talk about it. I said, I wanted a divorce and she said no, that she didn't want to discuss that either. She does not want to give me a divorce. Well, shocker, I am getting in contact with a lawyer. Then she said I must pay the car note on Friday. I said, nope, not gonna happen, or your phone bill. She said he would pay her phone bill but that I would pay my car note because it was my car. It is in my name though. So that will be a fight for me in the future. Whatever, not arguing. Bye-bye. But the craziest thing was she said, I love you loud as hell as I walked away. I didn't even turn around or say it back. That was it for me. My birthday is tomorrow and I asked if I could take the kids out to eat with me. I plan on going to my favorite steakhouse with my daughter and family. I would love for them to come. She said, absolutely not. So I said, are you really sleeping in parks, and why she got upset and said I needed to mind my business. So, yeah, folks, thank you so much for all your advice. I was scared to call CPS, but I did it. I just feel like this is a long emotional battle that I am already dreamed of. Update. My wife showed up at the house demanding car payment money Friday night. I told her I was not paying it and she said that she wanted to talk about coming back to me. I said no. I do not want you here. Please leave. There is no car payment money. I am not paying it. She refused to leave and brought the kids into the house. I called the police and they came. She said it was her house and I told them the situation. They asked her to leave and she said, okay. She told me she would be filing for divorce on Monday and I told her I already had a lawyer working on it as she was pulling out of the driveway. I saw a van at the end of the driveway and it was her guy waiting for her. Our daughter was not home on the weekend. She likes to stay with my mom. So I'm thankful she was not there to see the big drama. Not that her mom even asked about her or asked how she was. I told the cops my kids were living in her car and they needed to go check the car because she had everything in the back seat as well as her dog living in the car. She lied and said they were living in a motel and all of that stuff in her car was from her, taking it from the house. When she left, she went outside and talked to the cops. I'm so over the drama. When she came into the house, she was acting very weird. It was night and she had on sunglasses. I told her to take them off and it looked like she had a black eye. I asked her what happened and she said it was from lack of sleep. She looked a lot better than the last time I saw her. So no, I did not pay the car payment. I feel guilty. I know people wanted me to report it stolen. But I feel like my kids are going through a very traumatic time. The principal of their school as well as CPS has all the information. I wouldn't mind taking the kids in and raising them myself. But I feel like right now, they would be better off with her family as they are aware of the situation as well. So tonight I got a ding and it was her asking me to pay for medicine for my daughter because they were all coming down with COVID or the flu. I ignored it and I went back and forth about blocking her for some reason. I couldn't. My daughter called and she did sound stuffy. So I said, can we meet at CVS? She said yes. And we met up. I bought them some stuff. He was not with her. I also bought them some food. She said, can we talk? I said no. As soon as I got back home, my son texted from her phone asking me if he could come to visit me next week. I said, I really didn't know that he should be focused on school and that I would see them soon. This is very draining for me. I'm feeling like I might block her number for now. At least until I meet with my lawyer next week. I am feeling extremely guilty for not paying the car payment, but I'm standing my ground about it. Update. Well, she's back begging to come home. She said she was sorry and that she has broken up with the guy. She called me to pick our son up. He told me he was tired of sleeping in the car and he tried to run away. I told him he could come home. He's here. Now she let him come. My daughter said she wanted to stay with her mom shortly after I got a text saying she was sorry and that it was a bad decision. She said she has been alone this past week and she is talking about suicide, saying she is done with life. I told her she couldn't come here and that I was sorry that the guy was treating her badly today. I thought they were doing good. And she said that I really didn't know her. She was having a nervous breakdown and mental issues. She didn't know what to do but run. Update. Well, my wife is still on the streets with this. My son was with me. He wanted to come home. He was tired of living on the streets. So he begged to come home. She agreed and I agreed. My daughter wanted to stay with her mom, but she decided last week to come home too while she was home for all of 2 days. When she came home from school one day, she ran away. We found her underneath a bridge close to her house. She is going through mental issues and I'm trying to get her some help. I am filing for divorce. And when I told my wife, she cried and told me that she was sad, but she was in love with that guy. Fast forward to a few days ago. She called me crying, saying this guy was acting up. He told her he felt like he was taking on too much with her and that he needed to take a step back. He's only 24 years old. And he said at first, he felt the connection strongly, but he just wanted to focus on himself. She called me crying and upset. She came and got the kids and all their clothes. She said she was going to lay to get into the homeless program there. I asked her not to take the kids and she said, no, she wanted the kids with her and she thanked me for everything. She then asked if we could talk about us getting back together. I calmly told her that would not happen. She hurt me too bad and I couldn't just go back to the past. I forgive her, but I am numb now. I just want a divorce and to raise the kids. I told her we could at least do that so they could be happy and we didn't have to be together to make that happen. She left the house and I got a call this morning. She said she was going to end herself today. She thanked me again and said she was done with living. Everyone had hurt her. She tried to make me feel guilty. I just called the cops and explained to them. She had my kids and threatened to harm herself. I don't know where she is. Every time I feel a little closer to being myself and happy again, she does something that pulls me back into an abyss of darkness and hell. The stress will kill me for sure. Update. She didn't harm herself. She just went missing a few days ago. She dropped the twins off at her doorstep. They are now safely with me. They are back into the routine of eating every day, consistently taking showers and having fun in her backyard. As kids do, all three of them are really hanging close to each other. Our 4-year-old is smiling again. She loves having her brother and sister here with her last night. They all begged me to order pizza and watch a movie. So I said yes, okay, let's do it. This was the happiest. I'd been in months just looking around at my kids laughing and having a good time. I am content right now, but I still have anxiety that she will show up and snatch them away from me. I've been in constant contact with CPS just in case because I have a strong feeling. She is coming around soon. She's only called once since dropping them off, telling me that she is with her boyfriend and they are more in love than ever. She says that he has inspired her to get a job and start making her own money so they could get home together and that she will be back for the twins. So right now she is supporting his dreams and he is supporting her. Yeah. Okay. Cool. She also apologized for threatening her herself. She said she was just stressed. I'm done with her madness, just focusing on me and the kids. I am also planning on taking them on a mini vacation at the end of October, Disney World. Her phone bill was due Friday and Verizon sent me a reminder I did not pay it. And I called them to see if I could somehow get out of the contract because not paying eventually will end up on my credit report. So I'll more than likely have to pay money to break the contract. Either way, she's costing me money. I forgot to tell you guys, her weed man showed up at her house. I had no idea who this guy was and what he wanted. I saw him on Ring and asked him what was up. He said he needed to talk to my wife. I said she was not my wife and that we were divorcing. I asked, "Who are you?" He said, "Can I come to the door? It's urgent," and I said, "No." He told me that my wife had run up a weed tab of close to $2,000 and she had not paid him. He wanted his money. I'm floored in shock. He said that my wife told him I would pay him. I said, "No, I had nothing to do with it," and asked him to leave. So he said, "If I see your wife, it's going to be a problem immediately." I called her and she sent me to voicemail. So, yeah, great. Some other bullshit she's brought upon me. I'm thinking of calling the cops to tell them. My wife has been giving out our address to strange people who are showing up at my door. Can they do anything? Final update? Last weekend, one of the twins got sick and I had to rush her to the. They told me she had appendicitis and had to get her appendix removed. I called her mom, who took about 40 minutes to arrive. She came in with her boyfriend immediately. I got pissed off and told him to leave because I had my 4-year-old and the other twin with me. I didn't need this guy around, so he was acting calm, telling me we needed to go somewhere and just talk man to man. I told him no, and that I had nothing to say to him the entire time. My soon-to-be ex-wife was telling me to stop. She didn't even rush to the back to check on her daughter. She just stood there and tried to console him as I was telling him to piss off. I could tell my kids were getting upset. So I went to another part of the hospital and left them standing there holding on to each other. The doctors told me my daughter's surgery will be an emergency surgery that morning. And her mom heard that. Well, guess what? She asked just how long would it be. Because her new stud had to go to work and she was his ride. I told her to just go leave Tesco, take him to work. At that point, I had been there for a little over 2 hours myself, and that home line at home. My daughter, who was 13, cried in stomach pain. So my wife said, "Okay, yeah, I'll be back before she goes back into surgery. I'll just drop him off at work." Well, that was last week and we haven't seen her since. She never came back to the hospital. She did call yesterday to ask how it went and if she could come to get some food. I told her if she showed up, I'd call the cops. I've also asked her to surrender the vehicle. She's in that I pay for and is in my name, or I would get the cops involved. I'm beyond over her and so disgusted with her when I made that original post. Yeah, I had a little hope she would come back to me now. I have nothing at all for her. She even told me on the phone. I sounded harsher and harsher with her. I'm trying to get full custody of these kids. Yeah, they're my stepkids. But I will not under any circumstances let them go back with her. She will have to call the police on me first. I can tell the kids are conflicted. They love her, of course, and they want the old her back, but she is gone. They are hurting, waiting for her to show up, but she is gone. Gone in love, gone in drugs. It's the truth. I've accepted the situation for what it is. I have a divorce lawyer. She said she would never sign the papers because she didn't want a divorce. She wanted me to understand that she was just going through a life crisis and to accept it. I don't care. She can do what she wants, but she can't drag us in the middle of it anymore. The locks were changed on Monday. She has no place here, no home to come to. The car will be out of her possession soon, as well as when I pay off her phone bill. I finally realized and came to grips with the fact that the reason she was able to continue to hurt us was that I was still waiting and wishing for that old person that I fell in love with to show up. But the old person didn't just leave. This is who she was all along, and by enabling her and allowing her access to me and her kids freely, everyone was damaged. She has to be cut off completely. This is scary because she can take her kids anytime because legally I never adopted them. I am ready to fight the good fight when it comes down to it. My wife has a younger sister with whom she was very close. They would talk every day when my wife was living at home in her old self. Her sister called me crying. She has not spoken to her and will not answer any of her calls. When my wife first left me, she was talking to her sister. Then she also blocked her sister on social media. My wife's mom said my wife was on drugs and that all they could do was pray for her. Apparently she and the mechanic have been seen around town begging for money and food. They are staying in a raggedy motel across town, and when they can't afford that they just sleep in the car together. And she told me she pawned her wedding rings. Yep. Both rings. I got her gone straight up, told me to my face. The great news is my wife's family doesn't really want to take care of the twins because they have a lot going on in their own lives. So nobody is fighting me to take them. My wife agreed. Some weeks ago, the twins will be with me until she finds a stable home. She told me she might even go into a homeless program and she will be back for them. Then I am filing for emergency custody next week. Wow. Please speak to your stepkids privately and make sure neither of them was abused by the guy or his junkie. Friends. Guys like this mechanic are for taking advantage of vulnerable people regardless of age. especially when there are drugs involved. Be perfectly clear. You're there to protect and support them, and you want to make sure they know they have someone in their corner. Tell them they don't have to call you dad. But to you, they're your kids and you do anything for their well-being. Step. Kids need to hear that you've completely expressed it, but sometimes the words matter too. I'm sorry, you're all going through this. Those kids are very lucky to have a father like you. At least you still have a family and the kids, and they'll always appreciate what their father sacrificed for them. I do some documenting regarding the kids, how long you've been providing for them, what you've been providing in the way of health insurance or other official documentation that you own the home they're registered at school with, stuff like that. That way when you look towards adopting them or even just trying to keep them instead of giving them to social services, you'll have proof of history and care. Good luck. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed the story, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also comment below with your thoughts on what happened. Take care everyone.